And we are live. You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture. I have over a decade worth of fantasy football experience, and I've continuously competed for fantasy championships over the course of the past 6 seasons. Let's make it 7 in 2020, but enough of me. I'm here for you. On today's episode of the FB Show, we are continuing our Week 2 game previews, breaking down every single Week 2 matchup of the NFL 2020 season, all through the lens of fantasy football. Up next, we are talking the San Francisco 49ers versus the New York Jets. So if you are excited for this game preview, be sure to hit that like button down below, like an open receiver downfield, Jimmy Garappolo style. Also smash that subscribe button like a power running back up the middle so that you never miss a video from me. I'm doing anywhere between 30 and 40 fantasy football videos every single week. It is an absolute butt ton of content coming out on a week-to-week basis. And last but not least, you can follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. I truly have loved all of the interactions and conversations I've been having with so many different people over there. People just being willing to ask me, to trust me with their start-sit questions, just trying to provide some insight, some trade moves, roster decisions, and things like that. It's been a whole lot of fun, so I highly encourage you to hit me up on any of those platforms. And last but not least, you can actually click the card right up here, and it's going to take you to all of my Week 2 previews. So if there's a specific game that you're looking for, or a player you want to hear my thoughts about, that is the best way to easily sort through and find what you need. All right, let's get rolling here. The San Francisco 49ers travel cross country to New York in a game versus the Jets. The over-under for this game is 41.5 points, and the 49ers are favored by 7. All right, first thoughts here. 41.5 seems ridiculously high for this game, given what we know. The Niners being favored by 7 makes more sense, but that 41.5 over-under, huh? Like, are we getting the same injury reports? Are we getting the same who is and who isn't playing? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense here. We got some injuries to report on. George Kittle, star tight end for the 49ers, is out with that knee sprain. He was ruled out. Brandon Aiyuk is a full participant in practice this week with that hamstring injury, so he should be good to go to make his first ever NFL appearance. He obviously missed last week due to that injury. The 49ers signed Mohamed Sanu in place of, we'll just kind of add to the loss of Deebo Samuel, who is placed on IR this week. Deebo Samuel can be expected back week 4. He was actually placed on IR just before kickoff and on week 1. Remember, IR this season is only 3 weeks just due to a few like the COVID concerns and just roster flexibility. So IR is only 3 weeks. It's traditionally 6. Speaking of IR, Leveon Bell was placed on injured reserve with that hamstring injury. He is eligible to come back week 5. And Jamison Crowder was ruled out with a hamstring injury that he suffered in practice. I believe it was on Wednesday. So there is a ton of injuries, and not only just injuries, but injuries to players who are fantasy relevant, unfortunately, right? So Kittle's out. Aiyuk is actually playing, so that's a good thing. We'll see what he looks like in his first ever piece of NFL action. Jamison Crowder, out. Le'Veon Bell, out. Deebo Samuel, out. Like, we're scrambling here for names in this matchup. Just some more game notes here. The 49ers, they looked fine against Arizona. I didn't think it was world-burning by any means. The running backs, I thought, played really well. Raheem Mostert and Jerick McKinnon getting in the end zone in his first NFL action in about 3 years was a really great moment from week 1. And then the Jets just looked absolutely abysmal last week versus the Bills. And that was like, oh boy. I have thoughts about Sam Darnold. I'll probably touch on them in just a little bit here. But moving over to some start-sit, to me, there are no auto starts for this game, and the only one that if this is auto start, the only one who's like right almost across that auto start line is Raheem Mostert, running back for the San Francisco 49ers. We saw him get I believe it was a 70-yard touchdown catch. Just a nice little bubble screen, catch it and fly up the middle of the field for the score. Mostert's a guy who I've really liked throughout the course of the past few seasons or so. So just to see him continue his success has been really exciting for me personally. So Raheem Mostert, just because the Jets are just absolutely decimated now on both sides of the ball. If San Francisco gets a big, then they're just going to keep running it, and their natural play style is to just give it to the running back and let them do work. Raheem Mostert's a guy who I think is super talented and should thrive in this game. Let's see. I can cross out if George Kittle is active. I think you have to play him. And then also, is George Kittle 50%? Is 50% of George Kittle greater than 100% of Jonnu Smith? Funny how things happen in just a few hours after I got down these notes. All right, moving over. This recap I'm going to tell you, or this preview rather, is going to be extremely short because the final note that I have is it's Chris Herndon season. No Denzel Mims placed on IR, another player who was placed on IR last week and won't be active until week 4. So no Chris Herndon. Rashad Perriman is now week 2 as a member of the New York Jets, right? Chris Hogan is now in week 1.5 of being a member of the New York Jets. Jamison Crowder, out. Leveon Bell, out. It's Chris Herndon season. This might be the breakout game, but of course, he's going up against a great San Francisco 49ers defense. But who else is Sam Darnold going to throw the ball to? And this brings me to my point about Sam Darnold. Fucking free my mans. For the love of God and all that is holy, I would pay an excessive amount of money for Sam Darnold to be in a competent situation with a franchise that is willing to put pieces around him, with guys where he's not, like, this is year 3, right? Yes, this is year 3. And Darnold has not been put in any sort of position to be successful. Now, some of it is management's fault because they really have struggled to put weapons around him. But now just dealing with injuries for his offense, left, right, and center, I'm really like just stressed out about Sam Darnold because I do think he's a guy that has showed flashes to be this really, really talented NFL quarterback. But just the organization and the structure around him just keeps fucking crumbling. And it's so disheartening for me to see as a Sam Darnold fan. So I do think it's Chris Herndon season. To me, I think he's probably the only guy in this Jets team that you can start with any level of confidence per se. And it's just because you know he's going to get targets and you know he's a very, very talented tight end when he is on the field. A name that I want to bring up, it's not going to be Frank Gore, who's expected to be the starting running back for the Jets this game. It's actually going to be Michael Pirine, okay? Pirine is a rookie out of Florida. From me, he was one of my favorite rookies to watch and really study tape on this offseason. I think I had him ranked just outside my top 20 rookies for dynasty drafts. He was a guy that I was really considering drafting if I were to have kept some of my later round draft picks, that 3rd, 4th, or 5th round territory. He was the guy that I was really targeting. And it's very, very simple, right? This regime drafted Michael Pirine. Michael Pirine's tape, he does a lot of things really, really well, I thought. He was a guy who was able to kind of break tackles, cut through the middle, and find his way into the end zone. He was unfortunately battling a high ankle sprain throughout the majority of training camp, and that's why he missed week 1. But if Le'Veon Bell is out for these next 3 weeks, and maybe even longer, depending on how this hamstring injury heals, I really do think Pirine has an opportunity here to break through. Not a guy that I'm going to go rush and pick up this week before this game, but a guy whose activity and involvement I'm really going to keep an eye on during this game and probably next week as well. I don't expect him to do much this game, admittedly, because this is going to be his first piece of action in the NFL coming off of that injury. So we'll see how much of work he actually gets. But just a name to keep in the back of your head, he was a guy that I really, really liked coming out of college this season. But that's going to do it for my San Francisco 49ers versus New York Jets preview week 2. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. Actually, I did this again where I cut the video too fucking early. You're starting Jimmy G if you absolutely have to. I don't love it. And this 49ers, they have no weapons too. That's the thing, right? This game, I like this game because I get to kind of make this recap a little bit shorter. And as a result, it's already 12:30 in the morning right now as I'm recording this. So I get to kind of fly through this one a little bit quicker. But there are literally no fantasy options of any note to play in this game, with Deebo Samuel out, Brandon Aiyuk getting his first action in the NFL, George Kittle out, Le'Veon Bell out, Jamison Crowder out, Denzel Mims out, Rashad Perriman, sure, fuck it, whatever, Chris Herndon, the only one on the Jets who I'm comfortable starting. That's it. Everybody is injured in this game, and as a result, there is really no fantasy implications whatsoever. So please just avoid this game pretty much as you possibly can. And that's gonna do it really for this game. I'm not. This is the game that I think I'm the least excited about for week 2. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button down below. Smash that subscribe button so you never miss a video from me. Follow me on all social media platforms. There's also going to be a link up here above to my week 2 playlist. So if you want to check out any particular game, you can always just click that playlist and it's going to take you to everything. Again, thank you so much for watching. And remember, people come and go, but fantasy championships are forever. I will see you in the next video.